Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's Deb C, and place to be, it's Deb C. Nope, that was really off. Let's do it again. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's Deb C, and place to be, it's Deb C. Bloop, that's me. Boop, Deb C. Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. I hope everybody is having a wonderful week and a great day so far. And happy October. That means it is one more burr month down, and we're getting closer here in Western Pennsylvania to hopefully cooler weather. So listen, grab your drink. I just have a water with a true lime packet in it, and I think that is delicious. It gives the taste of lime, but you don't have to squeeze a lime, and there's no sugar. I love it. And refreshing. So grab your drink, grab your beverage, let me know what you're drinking. We are going to get into last night's Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. It is season 6. It is episode 3. It is appointment TV. Like, it's my favorite thing on TV right now. Okay, so we start off with a Vita. It looks like it might be a Vita event, meaning Vita tequila is being served there. So Lisa is, I thought Lisa was having a Vita event, but as it turns out, it looks like it might have been an event that was being put on by HBO possibly, because I thought I saw HBO in the background. So she's having an event. And listen, when I tell you that I yelled the loudest. And the loudest yell, of course, came from the fact that at the event that she was having was Steve Carell. In case you didn't know, I'm a huge fan of The Office. Super fan of The Office. So when she said Steve Carell, I was like, that's it. Where? I didn't even care to see the rest. I just wanted to see Steve Carell. Nothing that anybody ever says will ever make me not love Steve Carell. And if you haven't noticed, Steve Carell now, I'm going to put a picture up here of Steve Carell now. He's a silver fox now. I mean, can I just say it? He's better looking now than he was back when he was Michael Scott. But I will always love Steve Carell. Okay, so we're talking about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and not my love of Steve Carell. Steve Carell, you will never see this, but listen, I don't trust anybody who doesn't like you. There we go. Okay, so this started Lisa Barlow just name dropping. Who isn't she working with? She was working with Ben. She was working with Ben Affleck and Blake Lively. That's not that big of a thing. Blake Lively's kind of trash. She name dropped working with Usher, with Harry Potter, with Steve Carell. Oh my gosh. I don't mean to brag. She's like, I don't mean to sound braggadocious, but listen, let me brag on the big things that I do, because I lead a different life from anybody else, and I do big things. I've always done big things. I name drop. I don't pay my bills. I don't tell my husband about money that I borrow from another man. And she was also talking about a little get-together that she's going to be having. A few hours earlier, she was talking to Amy the socialite, who I'm convinced after this, I think they're bringing Amy in. It feels like they're bringing Amy in because they need another person to like stand up for Lisa, to be on Lisa's side. That's what I feel like. Unless they're gonna try and put her on maybe a show in the future, but we haven't really seen anything from her. So I think she's just there to help defend Lisa. But she was talking to Amy earlier. And she's like, oh, yep, I'm going to have an event at Blue Sky. And it's going to be all these ladies. The only lady she wasn't inviting was Bronwyn, the usual suspects, Bronwyn, Whitney, Angie, and Brittany, which they're going to be invited to a special lunch later, which is crazy that she's not inviting Brittany, because I thought Brittany said that they were besties, that they were like sisters and they got along so well. If that's the case, why wasn't she invited to the team A? Because there's team A and team D. I don't understand why she wouldn't be on team A then. Okay, Bronwyn and Todd, they go to lunch, and things have really changed since the reunion. Remember, Todd came off, and I even thought this myself, Todd came off badly because it seemed to me like he really was very hard on Bronwyn. And to me, it almost gave like a scolding, like when your father scolds you. I did not like the way he spoke to her. And he saw this, and since then, he has really changed the way that he communicates with Bronwyn, and then how he talks to her in public. Another thing that's changed is Bronwyn's parents for a while were living with them because her mother had a brain tumor. Her father suffers from Alzheimer's. He's had it for 10 years. And so her mother is still with them, but her father was moved into a memory care center. And that's, she talks about it a little bit later on. It's heartbreaking. It's so sad, but she did speak with Meredith about this. And that's because Meredith's father also had Alzheimer's. So it's nice to talk to somebody who has the same kind of lived experience, who can be there for support or maybe give you tips on what she did to make it through it. Todd, and listen, I'm honestly, I'm with Todd. Todd had said that, why do you keep going back to Lisa? Like, why don't you just cut her free? Like, the way that she's treated you and has talked about you is terrible. I would be done with her. You should be done with her. But Bronwyn is like, there's still a part, I don't know why, but there's still a part of Bronwyn that wants to get along with her. But we find out later that Bronwyn's self-confidence isn't as strong as I thought it was, because a little bit later on when she's talking to her mom, we find out that she doesn't feel worthy. So there's a part of her that's always just wants people to like her. And Mary had alluded to something like that in an interview that she did with Dorinda, who, in case you didn't know, hi, I am a Dorinda Medley fan till the day I die. If there are no Dorinda Medley fans, that means I'm dead, because I love Dorinda Medley. I don't care. I love sober Dorinda. I love drunk Dorinda. I love Dorinda Medley. If you're watching this, Dorinda, which you're not, I love you. I would make it nice for you. I love you. Clip, 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 clip. Anyways, Dorinda, love you. Where was I at? My train got so far off the track. Okay, so let's move on. Oh, no. Okay, I know where I was saying. So, Dorinda and Mary were talking. I don't know I think Dorinda might have a podcast, and she was talking to Mary, which, by the way, I thought they got along great. But Mary had said that Bronwyn is a person that really just wants everybody to like her, So we saw that this episode. And she went over to visit her dad. listen, her father, Angie's dad, is the absolute cutest. Like, he is such an adorable grandpa. I mean, come on. So she brings him over some flowers, and they're sitting there talking, and he brings out these old pictures, which is something I absolutely love seeing, because when you bring out the pictures and then you get to talking and you hear more about their story, I loved seeing that. But he brought these pictures. He was talking about how at like 7 years old, he saw the Germans come into their village and just destroy everything, like burn their houses down, and he had to live through this. And then they fled with like just the clothes on their back. So she's like, I hear him talk about all of this, and then I look at my problems and I'm like, these are nothing compared to the problems that he had, and he made it through. And all of this, hearing all of these stories, it makes her like even stronger in her love of being Greek. And she just really wants to celebrate being Greek and celebrate the heritage and her culture. And she really hopes that her daughter Electra will also grow to love being Greek, which we find out a little bit later, something about that. Okay, so Bronwyn, the next scene, Bronwyn was at home with her mom. This was heartbreaking. It really was. So she was at home with her mom. Her mom is going back and forth between Utah and Northern California, because they're getting ready to sell the house, and she's going through and she's finding these items, and these just items of her husband's, that she's like, I don't know if I should sell them without him knowing that I'm selling them. And then that gets them to talking. And Bronwyn feels like it's really taking a toll on her, but she says something that I think is true. I think it's almost harder for the person who's taking care of, or it's even harder for the person who's the relative of the person who has Alzheimer's, because that person who has Alzheimer's, they don't really know exactly what's going on, whereas the caregivers, the families, the friends, they know exactly what's going on. So you see, it's almost like a death. It's like two deaths. Like, there's the death of the person, of how the person was, of who the person was before, and then the physical death at the end. And she was like, it is incredibly difficult on me. I cannot even imagine what it's like on my mom. And that's just to hear her just cry, that was heartbreaking to see. It's just, any of those diseases like Alzheimer's or dementia, it takes such a toll on everybody. And I know all diseases do take a toll on those suffering with it and those in the family. But this is something that they just don't, when they don't remember you. Because I know I had a great aunt who we think was starting it at the beginning stages of it. And when she didn't recognize who I was, it's so I can empathize with where she's coming from. But the thing with her dad is stuck in a time when it was a very tough time for her. And that was when she was 18 and she was pregnant with Gwen. because her dad thinks that she is Gwen. And so he's stuck in that time. And it's like Bronwyn said, it's not a time that she was like, that was her best time. But she's like, but I made it through, and it took me a little bit more time. I had to circle the drain a few times, but I made it through. Now, what her mom said afterwards, I thought was shitty. I mean, I could give her some grace because she is going through this very difficult time, and she is coming off of a brain tumor, but it seems like her mother might make snide remarks. Like, this might not be the first one, but she said something like, you couldn't have done it without Todd. And if it wasn't for Todd's money, you wouldn't have made it. You needed that dime. And Bronwyn had said, well, it's another snide remark. Not to her, but off camera. Well, it's another snide remark. And then she said after that, she said, well, you're going to be going through this again with Todd. I didn't like either of that. I mean, if it was a dig at his age, I just thought that was, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. What she should have said was, what her mother should have said was like, I'm proud of what you've done. I'm proud of how you're raising your child. Because in there, what I forgot to say was, her mom was like, you don't feel worthy. And she's like, no. And then right after that, she's like, well, good thing for Todd. Like, oh, you didn't do anything on your own. It was just Todd that bailed you out. I thought that was shitty. I mean, I know you should give grace, but I didn't like that. As somebody who had always been put down quite a bit for my weight, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. Okay, let's move on. So Angie visits Heather. We find out Heather has another book deal. She has a third book deal. I haven't read the other two. I really should, but she has a third book deal. Now that her last chickadee is flying the nest, there's more time for more projects, and she's looking forward to that. Angie is working on getting her Greek citizenship. Go, Angie. That is awesome. But she thought Electra would be real excited, but Electra was kind of just like, oh, well, she doesn't care. And she doesn't understand why being Greek is like her whole persona. So that whole thing of like, I hope Electra really embraces being Greek. I don't know that that's going to happen. But listen, welcome to the teen years. That you're going to get a whole bunch more of the whole, I don't want to hang around with you, mom. So then they talk about the party. Angie mentions about how sometimes Lisa can be very aggrandizing. Like, she's very braggadocious about the life that she lives. Well, then Heather mentions about how during lunch she had said, well, I live a different life from you guys, and I do big things. And Heather said it hurt my feelings. And I can understand why it would hurt your feelings, because when someone says, well, I lead a different life from you, I do big things. In my mind, I would be thinking, so you're better than me. So you're saying you're just better than me? I'm sorry. Heather is a published author. And from what I understand, I mean, she's a published author. She's an established businesswoman, Beauty Laser Labs or whatever it's called. And from what I understand, she doesn't owe any money to anybody. I mean, I didn't read anything about it, but I haven't seen anything out there in like the TikTok sphere. And then Heather says, I value my friendship with Lisa, but why? What is there to value? I just don't understand. I don't understand. Why would you value the friendship after she says shit like this? Why would you? That doesn't make any sense. So Lisa, okay, it's the day of the event. Lisa takes some of the girls, the A team, which is Meredith, Heather, Meredith, Mary, Amy, I think those four. Yeah. She takes them out to Blue Sky skeet shooting. And she's talking to Heather, and Heather's like, where's the other girls? They're like, well, that's the D team. They're going to be coming. They are just going to be at lunch. I have something special planned for them. So the rest of the girls, they show up for lunch. Angie's real suspicious. Angie's like, why is she inviting us here? Something is up. And then they walk in. When they walk into that room, and it's filled with giant posters, of the lawsuits, and then slapped on it real big is dismissed. Dismissed, dismissed, dismissed. And then for some reason, I don't know why you would have that picture of John and Lisa Barlow on like a yacht or a houseboat. It's taken from far away. I don't know if that's supposed to show that they lead a different life. Listen, I'm sure a lot of these other women have been on yachts, okay? I'm sure Bronwyn has been on many a yacht. And also that picture of them at front row at the Utah Jazz game, which she's like, check it out. It's us we're at front row at the Jazz game. Bronwyn, of course, points out, not to everybody, but to Bronwyn points out, she's like, that's not front row. That's not courtside, because courtside has the foldable chairs. That's not courtside. So good try, but you're wrong. So yeah, basically she's here. She says, I brought you here to clarify what's going on. I brought you here to clarify. Dismissed. They're dismissed. Dismissed. And then Bronwyn says, were they dismissed because you paid them? And she says, no, dismissed because it's none of your fucking business. Oh, okay. Well, so it turns out all of them were dismissed except for one. And Lisa Barlow had a touch of Amber Heard in her because she was using denied and dismissed synonymously. They're not the same. These giant poster boards, they did nothing to convince anyone. No one was convinced of any of this. Also, Lisa's saying that, remember a few episodes ago, last episode, Lisa was like, I would never compare anybody to Jen Shaw. I would never do that. And then last episode, they showed proof of her tweets when she said that Bronwyn was worse than Jen Shaw. And then tonight on last night's episode, she said that Angie wants to be Jen Shaw because she uses the same eyebrow girl. She does good work. If the eyebrow girl does good work, I mean, she was not trying to get with Jared Joel. Jared Joel was trying to get with her, and she was cool for not getting with him because he would want to. But yeah, I would never do that. I would never say that. Of course you would. And then in the middle of all this, with all of the yelling and all the screaming, here comes this poor waitress just trying to get in there and take some orders. And thank God for Amy and Heather, because nobody would have eaten if they didn't step in. So then Whitney speaks up, and all of a sudden Meredith just wakes up like to life, you know? I wouldn't have even known that she was there if I didn't see her hat. So, and there was talk about like, well, you know, Meredith, you really didn't say as much as you should have. You didn't really speak up as much. And Meredith was like, I did. She did. She just said, we shouldn't talk about Lisa when she's not here. That's it. She didn't really say anything else. Whitney, Brittany, and Mary all said, you know, you really didn't speak up that much in defense of Lisa. And Meredith denied that. And she was like, you know that I stood up for you. And Lisa was, I know that, Meredith. It's fine. You're fine. And then the look, and I thought, wait a minute, that's not how it went down the last time. Whenever Heather told you that Meredith spoke up first, she spoke up first, and then she really didn't say much of anything at camping to defend her. And Heather and Lisa was all like, okay, I see how it is. I know who the friends are. You defended me. Meredith didn't say anything. But now all of a sudden, Lisa's like, I know, I understand. I know you did. It's okay. We're good. And that look that Heather gave was exactly the look that I gave. Because I was like, what? You were singing a different tune before. Whitney comes out and basically says, like, this doesn't prove anything. Like, all these poster boards, this doesn't really prove anything. So then Lisa has to start getting loud and yelling. And does this mean that I was sued? Yes. Was it dismissed? Yes. But I'm a businesswoman. I was sued before. I'll probably be sued again. Listen, if you're doing business above board and you are doing legal business and everything's copacetic, why would you get sued so much? I mean, I don't understand why you would have to get sued that much. But she starts yelling and screaming, and then she has to come at Whitney about her business. She's like, how's your business? She's like, well, in case you didn't know, I gave that business up. It failed. She came out and said it. And Lisa's all like, well, there's a lot of people on TikTok talking about it. Okay, here's the thing. People talking about it on TikTok is not the same as being sued. So there is that. Also, Whitney is using her own money to pay off the debts. And they just kept back and forth, getting really loud until Whitney threw nothing that's going to hurt her, just a napkin, and walked out. Listen, I'm going to tell you, this is the second week in a row. Lisa didn't convince anybody. Lisa lost that battle. So listen, tell me what you thought. And then afterwards, Lisa Barlow was on Watch What Happens Live with Sean Avery. I did not watch it because I'm just going to tell you, I'm not a Lisa Barlow fan. I'm not that big a fan of Lisa Barlow. So after watching her do all of this and yell and scream, I was like, no thanks. I don't need to watch this. And Sean Avery, I've never been a fan of his. Like, even when he played hockey, I wasn't a fan of his. And I'm not a fan of his now. And from what I understand, he was on there disparaging Bronwyn, saying she's like the devil or something like that. No, thank you. And then Andy lets him say shit like that. Whereas just the week before, he was kissing Bronwyn's ass. I didn't like that. If I'm being completely honest, I'm kind of over I've been over Andy for a little bit. So I don't know. In the comments, let me know what you thought. And if nobody told you yet today, you are loved, seen, and heard. Please make sure that you put love, kindness, compassion, acceptance, hope, and positivity out there so it comes right back at you. Please take care of one another. Kindness is free to put out there in the universe, so put it out there. And also, if you, no, let's start over. Always be aware of your surroundings, be smart and safe. Let us all hydrate with some water. And if you're in a dangerous situation, please know that Dolly and I are sending our love, thoughts, prayers, and positive energy your way so that you make it through. I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. I am finally going to talk about episode 8 of Sorority Mom's Guide to Rush once I finish watching it. Okay, I will see you tomorrow. And also tomorrow, I'm going to reveal what October is going to be and some of the fun things that I'm going to be talking about for and doing for fall, for autumn. Okay, I will see you guys tomorrow. Everybody have a great day. Love you, and I'll talk tomorrow. Bye.